Here we go. Another episode is never perfect. I'm really excited today, guys, because my two homies, probably the people I talk, well, no, of course, Leandra gets the most of my time, but probably number 2 and 3 besides the wife and the kids, who I spend the most amount of my time working, collaborating with, all of the things that we're doing between marketing and business development, investor relations, sales, all of the things that we're doing. Got my homies TJ and Danielle with me. What's up, guys? How you guys feeling today? It was a long day.
It was a lot. It was a lot today.
Yeah. Appreciate you. So Danielle's in town from the middle of nowhere. I don't care where. It's just the middle of nowhere to me.
It is Iowa, not Idaho, as a lot of people like to say.
TJ said Idaho. Today was our first quarterly planning we've had this year. Obviously, we had our annual planning going in, but today was beginning of Q2 quarterly planning. So Danielle's in town for a few days for that. We got a big dinner tonight. But maybe aside from giving away the goods, what would both of you say is the number one takeaway from today?
I mean, number one is getting clarity across everything that's going on with all
Why
brands.
is clarity so important to you?
Because I do manage a lot of our marketing across all of these brands, that I myself need clarity on what am I supposed to do, how am I supposed to be focused. Then I can bring it back to the different marketing teams and tell them, okay, well, this is the focus for the quarter, our next 90 days. This is the most important thing to do. So if I don't have that clarity at the top level, there's no way I can bring that clarity to the team.
Yeah. What about you?
Couldn't agree more. Along with clarity is alignment, right? So you go for 90 days, you agree in this quarterly session, or we did in our planning, what we're going to accomplish the next 90 days, what our top goals are, and then you go. And you'd be amazed in 90 days, like you're following the same goals that you agreed on, but you tend to get strayed out a little bit. So to come back 90 days later and get aligned again on the same, what the next 90 days look like, to get our minds right, to be together and just slow down for a full day. And then to realign everything, our rocks, our scorecards, make sure we still agree on all that. I love when we leave with this level of alignment, and then we're able to cascade that down to each department throughout the organization.
Yeah, I love that. If you're a new entrepreneur, you're new to the show, I'm a huge believer in EOS, Entrepreneurial Operating System, the book Traction by Gino Wickman. That's a lot of the terms they're referring to. I don't care what size you are, getting on that early will really help create clarity. I don't care if you're a 2-person company or a 50-person company. Yeah, if you're a 2-person company, I wouldn't advise you to hire an implementer. I would I'd advise you to self-implement this. Us at SteelPoint, obviously, I have a ton of experience, as well as both of these guys, using an implementer in previous businesses that we've been in and that we run and that we still own from a standpoint of what we have at SteelPoint. However, at the SteelPoint level, we still self-implement. We're only a year into this business. We have 13 full-time, employees here in the company. 6 of them are on the leadership team. So half of our company, right? That's probably something I've always done is hire a leadership team first, or put people in the seats and then, adjust from there. But man, EOS changes your life. I can promise you, if you want to grow a business, it creates extreme clarity, which if you know us, I'm all about clarity, vision clarity, execution clarity, and financial clarity. And if you heard, the first thing Danielle said, it's all about getting clarity. And that's what these 90-day, kind of resets do. What I want to get into a little bit more today with you guys, though, is, probably the big elephant in the room, and why we do a lot of this is to really bring value to the public, certainly for our own benefit, but as well as, the benefit of bringing that value to the public and creating our own community, creating our own coaching culture, and really bringing a ton of value to the marketplace, right? Whether it's through this podcast, through all of our other content that we're putting out there, through the school, Foundry, through our inner circle, and then obviously ultimately, our high ticket coaching that I do for specific clients. So let's start there. What I want to ask you guys, and really let you guys kind of go off on this, right? Because we talk a lot about my vision and where I want to go and what I want and those things. And of course, this is my podcast. Never perfect, baby. Let's go. But for you guys, why are you so excited about the Foundry? A lot of what we talked about today was really focusing on growing the Foundry. Certainly it helps pay our bills because it costs money to join. Yes, it costs money to show commitment, and the value proposition is there because we're bringing 10x the value you ever pay. But why are you guys specifically, and Danielle, you can start, right? Because you're in charge of the community, and formally today, you were in charge of everything related to the community. And so, what makes you excited about that?
Yeah, I mean, even when you first brought this community idea to me, before I even worked for SteelPoint, when you brought up this community that you want me to help basically run, build, execute, What really excited me is there are so many business owners that I know that maybe they're only making $60,000 a year, maybe they're making $200,000 a year, but they don't know what they are doing with clarity in their business. Why do they do what they do? A lot of people, they hear about EOS and they think they function on it, but I can tell you personally, I've been in EOS meetings where we are not functioning on actual EOS. When you get down to the nitty gritty of you don't make decisions on data. You don't have your KPIs dialed in. So when you brought this idea to me and you were like, well, this is what I focus on. KPIs first. If you don't have data, you don't have a business, like you can't make decisions without it. I got so fired up about, well, this is a community that I've never heard of before. Yeah. Like there are no communities that solely function off of having your financials in order, making decisions off of real data, not just, hey, maybe this will work. And then 90 days later, nothing happens because you don't have anything to measure off of what worked and what didn't.
I think the reason that is because I think a lot of us borrow what other people want and think it's what we want and we go after, right? Like, the real estate investing seems like a great thing to do. I want financial freedom. That guy has it. I want it. Let's get going. And then when you break down and you really start asking them specific questions, right? Every call I get on the very first time with anybody, it's like, where are you going? What's your 36-month goals? And I mix it up all the time, but like, or what's your 5-year goal? Or what do you want to be in 1 year? No one ever can answer it.
Exactly. And it's funny because even when we first met, the first time I ever interacted with you, you were asking me questions about marketing data. And I know you're doing it because a lot of people in marketing, you don't know your numbers. You don't know why you're making these decisions. So I was on a hot seat and you were ripping apart my hot seat about, well, where'd you get that KPI? Like, where do you figure out how many leads you got off of this one podcast episode? And it's like, well, you actually have to measure with having trackable data. And I know that for you, you even said, like, I was surprised that anyone actually knew this stuff in marketing because you'd never heard about that before.
Yeah.
But it's...
Shout out Mike Hambright, right? That was at Investor Fuel the first time we met. Yeah.
Yep, exactly. And right away there, I was like, well, this guy actually knows numbers. Like we have been to a lot of masterminds. I've been going to masterminds for 5 years. And a lot of people will say what they're doing, but they never directly make it go back to, well, it's because I did X, Y, Z. And, I have the numbers to prove that this is what I did. So the fact that you knew that everything in business comes back to it. I was like, well, this is a community I can get behind because that's how people are going to learn. You're actually going to get value off of how do I set this up in my own business? And I see it on every coaching call that we are on for Inner Circle. Right away, you're asking people actual attainable goals with what is your metric that you're going to measure getting to the end point of this goal off of, which it's not just like, oh yeah, I want to do 15 deals this week. Well, how are you going to do it? Yeah. What is your process? What's your plan? And how do you know if you're successful in that goal? And that's questions that most coaches don't ask.
That's it. If you don't know that at the Foundry, it's vision clarity, execution clarity, financial clarity. T, what about you, man? Why are you excited?
Well, it's really good point. Good job. It's really exciting for me because I lived life without it, right? Before coming to City Life and then now transition to Still Point, running my own company most of my life, I didn't have coaching. I didn't have mentorship. I didn't have the numbers. I didn't have the clarity. I didn't have the direction. When you and I sat down the first time, it was when you broke off from when you got fired and you wanted to bring that clarity to me. You had a vision of basically this and Accruity combined. And I didn't want to lift up the hood and see what was under it. I knew I was making a lot of money. I knew I was hustling. But I also knew the whole business depended on me. And I didn't know, I was living hand to mouth, right? Yeah. And so I lived that. I lived with the people that we talked to about the Inner Circle, about the Foundry in general, what they're living. So when I talk to them, I know exactly what they're going through. You don't have to be a real estate investor, but I was a real estate investor. I was an entrepreneur. I was doing all that. And my chest was constantly this tight because of all the unknown and all the uncertainty. I might have not been in financial distress, but I also was stressed about making payroll on Friday.
Yeah.
And I might have not even needed to be.
Yeah.
So when I'm talking to somebody and I know where they're at, and then I know what we've done in people's lives already and where we can get them to, and the advice they give, the real life application, the fact that at the Inner Circle level, you get 3 group coaching calls per month. You get an hour open office hour per week. and one-on-one per quarter, that level of involvement and handholding, most coaching, mentorship, and different masterminds and whatnot, they don't have that.
Mm-hmm.
You don't even get the actual person as the coach. You usually get a separate coach that's not someone who's running the company.
Yeah, I mean, people come together once a quarter,
Yeah.
fired up, leave, and then, all right, got to go figure that out. We do figure it out with you.
Yeah.
We are living life.
It's real coaching.
Real coaching.
Yeah,
And
real development.
We're not just, and we are, business is extremely important. We talk a lot of business, but we also talk a lot of life.
Yeah, I mean, I think, right, we have to. And that's one thing I've learned, TJ, around being around you, and really more recently in my life around the importance of a lot of things personally and how much it really affects anything that you're doing in your business or at all, right? Because happiness stems from, what I would say is the level of if you can hit the expectations or beat them, that's going to create more happiness for you. Well, if you don't even know what the expectations are, right? Vision clarity, you can't hit them and therefore you're really actually happy. Well, a lot of times that involves your personal life. For instance, if you have kids, how often are you seeing your kids? How much does it matter to you? If the expectations are you want to see your kids 2 hours a day and you're only seeing them one, you're going to be unhappy. But if you're at a point in time where your expectations are, I'll see him 1 hour a day because I'm in a grind mode of building the company to get to this, cool. Know that that's the time of your life that you're in and create that vision clarity and then execute to it so that you can create a new vision and execute to that. I think too often the biggest challenge and problem that everybody faces is they don't have real vision clarity. They have, I want to go there, what's there? And then they say, I want to be successful or I want to lose my W-2 job or like whatever. It's like, cool, tell me more. And then it's crickets every single time. It's like, no, we need to get extremely granular. When? Okay, why? What? What is that detail? How much money do you need to be making? Like really, really clear detail on the vision. Because I think the reality is once people have that one piece of vision, what happens is they spend the rest of their life in execution and they're not even really clear on the execution side of it. They wake up the next day and they decide whatever is the most important thing they have to do. And sure, they set some goals, but are the goals really actually aligned with vision in order to actually execute on what matters the most to hit the vision? Because I know factually, if I wake up tomorrow and I don't really think about my vision, and this happens, and that's why the 90-day resets are so important in business, because you wake up and you do whatever is puts in front of you that you think is the most important thing that day. And you got life and you got business and both things, particularly when you truly become, an entrepreneur or you work for me as an entrepreneur, right? Because I believe in entrepreneurship. So like technically in your role here, you're a W-2 employee, but at the same time, you have goals, vision goals, and all of the things that are in line with your personal life. And I think the challenge that people just face is they don't really create the connection between the two. And so they just go about working every day for the rest of their lives. It's like, what are we really doing here? Are we really actually going to chase what it is that we really desire? And then I think the last thing too is really what you just mentioned, is the financial clarity side of it, which I think people hide from more than anything in the world. And the reason I believe they hide from it is because they don't have vision and execution clarity. And so therefore, the financial is never where it actually wants to be, and they're not excited to see it, right? They're not excited about understanding that in order to change what it is that they're doing with their execution and their vision. They think it's going to make them even more unclear. We own Accruity. We're a part of Accruity. We're partners in the Accruity business at Steel Point Capital, and I'm the CEO of Accruity. And I think it's extremely important to understand that's exactly what we're trying to do. And the amount of customers that we have over the last year that we've literally changed their life because we create the financial clarity. They're like, okay, now I understand what I need to go. That then helps them create the vision clarity, then allows them to figure out what they need to execute on. And that's why I think the three of them are so tied together like a triangle, right? If you can't have a triangle without one of the corners, well, they're equally independent corners that matter the most. So it's really cool, right? It's really cool to be able to start to really preach. And we've always pushed it, right? But now we can help people at scale. And that's what's important. You guys know me. All I care about is scale. I don't want to do anything that's not truly scalable. And that's why we've had iterations and I moved away from like true one-on-one and things like that is for all of that. And so I want to pivot here because I think this is important. It's just as important as vision, execution, and financial clarity is the ability to surround yourself with the right people and who you work with, right? And whether it be inside of the right community, because communities, right, the masterminds, I think I've been in all of them. I bet you between the three of us, we've literally been in about 100, right, over the years.
No doubt.
That matters. But I think even more important than that is who you're working with on a daily basis, right? That matters just as much. And so those rooms are super important to get into the right room that have the right core values, the right culture fit, what you want, right? And so for us, there's a lot of our culture that if you don't like it, no problem. Like I understand, I still want to help you and make sure you win, but that's okay, right? Like if you relate more to that human, it's probably a pretty similar group. They're not worse off or doing the worst things than us. It's just a different vibe and culture and desire that you're after in your life. I think it's just as important as like for me, I'm not in sales. The two of you are in sales and marketing for sure. But the way that I've always thought about it is I do sell, but everybody I talk to, I'm always looking at is, can I vibe with them? Can they fit inside of the organization that I'm running as an owner, as a business owner? And so I want to ask you, right, because you guys don't have as much opportunity to do that and select who you surround yourself with. Probably the number one coolest thing that I have going for my life is I get to select who comes and works inside of my walls every single day, right? And that's why Jake's probably out of here tomorrow, because I don't want him around anymore. Just kidding. He's over there in the corner laughing. Jake's my guy. He knows that. Hey, for the record, Jake has to give me something funny to start every episode moving forward. So now he's on accountability blast to the camera.
If it's not funny, blame me.
But anyways, around that matter, right? Like, how has it been for the two of you to work together? Because you're all very, high A individuals on the PI chart. You're high A in general. You're both sales and marketing. You're both incredibly, excuse my French, opinionated, and have your ways of doing things. And you're both not detailing. So my question really is, just to throw it to you for a quick conversation around, like, being around the right people is incredibly important, and you've put trust in me to bring the right people around you generally. And, right, sometimes it goes well, sometimes it doesn't, and you adapt. But generally for the two of you, right, and having been together now for, over a quarter in the same space, doing the same things, how has that been?
Let Danielle go first.
I mean, I really like working with TJ because I actually think we're more alike than dissimilar in many, many ways. He's a little more intense than me. A little more intense. But usually our line of thoughts align with, hey, what is the most important thing that we got to get done right now? And we can push off things that maybe aren't as important that we have to deal with because we do have that clarity of, hey, this is why we do what we do. So when issues come up, I think it's really easy for us to talk through things. Like I have not gotten mad at TJ until last week when he said I forgot to do something that I didn't even know I was supposed to do, but apparently I was supposed to know. But up to that point, we hadn't even had an argument. And I'm like, this is great. And I work
TJ holding you accountable for things you didn't know you had to hold yourself accountable for. Not surprising.
Yeah, but it's cool because I actually feel like I mesh so well with TJ right off the bat. We meshed with the first phone call we ever had.
Yep.
So it was super easy to transition and just, hey, work with him. I mean, honestly, both of you guys. It was so easy to just fall into this role because of the culture, because of the mission, because of the vision. It was so clear to what I wanted. And I feel that with the whole team is because you've made that so clear that if you don't have this, you really shouldn't work here.
Mm-hmm.
It makes you decide, hey, if I'm not going to follow this, I shouldn't work here. And you basically rule yourself out that you shouldn't be here.
Yeah.
So right away I was like, well, this is my life. And I saw in TJ the moment I talked to him, okay, this is how he lives. He lives by our values, our mission here.
Yep. First word I think about when I think about you is contagious positivity. That's one of the sub points to our core value, which was the red sweater. We just changed the wording. I can't remember what it is now.
Lead with heart.
Lead with heart. Contagious positivity. And it's super easy to work with you and who we bring on because you got to meet the core values, which you just mentioned. If you don't, and the fact that you do everything you say you're going to do, take extreme action, get it done, go above and beyond. We are so alike in that it makes it easy for us to work together. I think we both have a hard time working with anybody that's not producing extreme results very quickly. So
and they know about it quickly if they aren't.
We relate on that. And
the reason you're on the leadership team.
Right. So it's that simple. I mean, someone that usually doesn't come to work. I mean, we talked 3 or 4 times before you came.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
And then once you did, it just felt like, all right, we've been working together forever.
Yeah. Like, even today, you were like, you've been here 4 months. And I'm like, it's only been 4 months. Like, it seems like it's been so much longer at this point, just because so much got done in 4 months as compared to wherever else you work. So much has happened in 4 months that it's like it's been a year already.
Why do you guys think that, why do you think, Danielle, you've been, 4, 5, 6 places in your career, right? You've continued to level up and create more success, and landing, of course, on our leadership team at, a very quickly growing, scaling called private equity firm, if you will, right? With a lot of real estate and a lot of business and a lot of revenue. a lot of demands in marketing. And
Yeah.
so, why do you think that?
How
Yeah.
have I got to this point?
Yeah.
It's the drive. I mean,
Yeah.
I've always been very driven. I'm the last of 6 kids, so I had to push myself to be noticed at my house. So I have always driven to be like, well, I got to be better than my siblings. I got to be better than my competition, whatever it is. I've always been very competitive too. I love sports. I've been a long distance runner for 20 years now, ever since I was 10 years old. So I've been competitively racing. And I've always just had that drive that if I'm not going to be at
Why
the
do
top,
you think people don't have drive?
there's a little bit of inherent. I think you are born with a little bit more drive. I think there are just people who inherently are like that. I also think it's a lot of your environmental factors, because there are points in my life that I was around friends who definitely brought me down, and they would make fun of me for going and trying to do things that are above and beyond the norm. And if you're in that environment, it's really hard to break out unless you just say, well, screw you guys, I'm done. I'm going to move on to the next thing, which that's kind of like with my jobs. When I saw a point where things weren't advancing, they weren't moving forward, I was done and I knew I had to move on to the next thing.
Yeah.
So I think a lot of it is just some of it's how you're taught, some of it's your natural instincts, and some of it's just being in the right places. Because
Yeah.
I've had mentors that have taught me, hey, you got to move up to the next thing. You got to go. You got to do this. And I've been lucky to have people who've told me you're not in the right spot.
What about you?
I couldn't answer that. I don't understand it. And that's not being cocky or rude. I just don't understand it. I mean, I know there's people out there without drive. Most of my life, I haven't put myself around those people. So, I've been in the sports world my whole life and just always wanted to get better. But I would imagine that it comes down to leadership, to some degree. I got lucky when I was 15 years old. My dad was taking me to real estate investment meetings and throwing me out to the crowd and telling me I had to come back with 20 business cards. So that's all I've ever really known, besides even high school and stuff. I was playing sports. We just wanted to be the best. I played football with your brother. Our goal was to win a state championship. We didn't get it, but we were all trying, and we did 3 a days before the season started. We just worked really, really hard. So I don't understand or relate to why people don't have drive.
Yeah. I think that I tend to agree a lot with Danielle here around literal physical location type of thing, as well as, more importantly, the people that you're around. Because even when I think about myself, if I try to reflect, what am I motivated on and what am I not motivated on in terms of pushing myself to be great, in terms of all of that. And for me, where I find myself not motivating or not caring or not trying often comes from a situation that has occurred with other humans in the situation, right? Said, hey, me and person A are working on something and person A stopped caring. Well, usually I quickly stop caring too. And so if person B cares more, well, I naturally sometimes seem to think that I'm going to go work with person B a lot more than person one, and person B's caring a lot more, whether it's something different or the same. And I always go the simple route, right? So for me, who's a very motivated, high drive person, right? My C is super low in the PI. I'm a super driver of myself. I do tend to want to, I go towards that, and that's what creates more of that drive. And if I don't see it, I don't want to do it, and I'm not motivated anymore, right? And certainly alcohol back in the day when I drink a lot helps, because I would not be motivated for the next 5 days, after drinking. It's a different thing, right? So what you're consuming. And I just think being around the right people. I'm down 25 pounds this year. I'm only down 25 pounds this year because I'm with you every day, right? That's just
Appreciate
a fact.
that.
I never cared until you cared, really
Mhm.
cared. And so I think the surroundings that you really, really, really impact more than we even think, more than even masterminds, more than even coaching groups and inner circles and all of that. I think the day to day of our lives, if your wife's not motivated, your husband's not motivated, you're not, it just changes the game for you.
Yeah.
And that to me is probably one of the most important things in the entire world that you can do, right? It's if you're tired, get up and walk, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Go find someone else that's doing it. Go to the gym so you see 50 other people,
Yeah.
doing it.
Mhm.
You're going to want to do it more. It's hard to work a lot, not because, anything, right? I'm a firm believer in the concept, and I'm going to start saying this way more than I already have, but just the idea of burnout and what that means. When I'm doing things that I love to do, I'll never get burnt out. When I'm doing things that I don't love to do, it's super easy to burn out. And so it's not that I work a lot that's burning me out. It's working on the wrong things that is burning me out. And so if you feel like you're getting burned out, you're probably doing a lot of the wrong things. And it's really important to get yourself to the highest and best use. TJ, you've been hearing me say, you've got to be working at your highest and best use 6 times. And so if you're a sales rep, you shouldn't be doing marketing, right? If you're back off, like you've got to get people to their highest and best use or they're going to burn out always, right? That's why we like PI. That's why we like, team architects, shout out team architects. They do a study that says what role they do great in, a lot of those things. Because to me, it's insanely important because I live it my everyday life. With that being said, if I'm working on the things that are my highest and best use, I'll work forever.
Yeah.
But it's challenging because there's other things that we love to do personally, such as the most important thing in all of our lives, our family, right? Our significant other, we all have, and all of our kids. Quite frankly, there's a lot of kids running around. If we brought them all into this room today, between the 3 of us, we talk about it a lot. It's incredibly difficult for me because I'm in a time in my life with very little kids, right? And I enjoy work and I work a lot because I'm chasing happiness, which is to create a life for us that we never could have imagined or dreamed of ever to this day. I don't ever want the fear of uncertainty to ever have to bother us. What I mean by that is I don't know where the world is going, and I want to make sure as long as we work our butts off forever, we don't have anything to worry about. And that's always the goal. How do you guys play that game? How do you think about that, right? With especially Danielle, you've got little ones. TJ, you got kids in 7,000 sports. You guys, your family is really tight, really close. Your kids are incredibly good people. Unfortunately, I haven't met yours yet. I'm sure I will sometime soon. How do you guys really think about family integration, work-life balance, the idea of being an incredible parent? Because you guys are such good humans. I can't imagine. I mean, I know you, TJ, and Danielle, I'm really getting to know you as a mom too, and the flexibility and things like that. But you also are remote, so it's a little bit harder to feel the family side of it.
Yeah.
How do you guys think about family, work-life integration, balance, the motivation and drive, the consistency that you both have? I mean, you both are killing it. You burn the midnight oil off, and you guys work a lot. Super consistent, and you're very focused. How do you guys think about it? How do you do it?
So I actually talk about this a lot on my social media pages because I think, especially as a mom, being a female, it's a little less normal that I'm the one driving and motivating and making the money for the house. And especially I have 4 boys, 6 and under, and I got another baby on the way.
I say this too, but to interrupt you really quickly, just to say this, I'm a firm believer that the mom job is the hardest job in the entire world, no matter what. There's not a harder job.
Whether you work or not. I mean, because you have so many demands, especially when the kids are young. All my kids, yes, they love my husband. My husband's a great stay-at-home dad, and he does a lot. I mean, he is their primary caregiver in many ways because I am working so much. But I'm still the one organizing schedules and making sure that their doctor's appointments are on there because that's just something that I am better at, and I think that's very common. So yeah, it is hard. A lot of times for me, I plan my whole day out on my calendar, and my husband has access to my work calendar, so he knows exactly when I'm in meetings. I put right on my work calendar if I have to take a kid to a doctor's appointment, when do they get dropped off at babysitting. All those things are right on my actual physical calendar. So the whole team here knows what's going on in my schedule. And I mean, I work remotely now for 6 years. So I'm very used to having to have everything on my work schedule so people know what am I doing at what time, so when I'm available.
Does that worry you at all? I mean, I think in like a traditional corporate America, it'd be like, well, I don't want to be putting that I'm leaving at 2:00 to go to my kid's doctor's appointment. Is that okay? You're literally throwing it on your calendar for everybody to see. By the way, I would never have known that. I don't ever pay attention or look at anybody's calendars. I don't care what anybody does all day. It's like, get the results.
I do that for Leandra.
But I think generally other people... Right,
they worry about it.
The world thinks differently of that than how I generally do.
Funny.
And you're not doing it for me.
I do the same exact thing.
I do
Haircuts,
it because
everything.
I want the team to see it. If they have to reach out to me, they got to see when am I available. So everything is on there and what I'm doing. And the reason why I don't worry about it is every night I put the kids to bed and then I'm working another 2 to 3 hours. So it's like, if I don't get as much done in the day that I expect, I'm going to be working at night anyway. And on weekends, I wake up early to do work on weekends. And it's just filling in those spots so that I still can enjoy the kids. And if they have activities going on, I still get to do that and be at their, talent show in the middle of the day, whatever it is. And I get the work done because it's flexible. Being in this entrepreneurial space, you have more flexibility than when you're in corporate America and you have to work 8 to 5. And, half that time you're talking at the water cooler and you're not doing anything anyway. Like, truthfully, working from home, I get so much more done in a day because of my time blocks of the day. I feel like I'm getting 2 work days in and 1 most of the time because you're so focused on whatever the core thing
I
is, you
tell
got to get
people that
done for
all
the
the
day.
time. How do you get it all in? Well, the more I put on my schedule, the more I get done.
Exactly.
That's
right.
And if
I'm
you
more
see
focused.
it,
Yeah.
if you see it, then you know you got to get it done. And I guess that's what we're all about here. If you say you're going to do something, you do it. So if I know I have to get it done by Wednesday, if it's Tuesday night and it's not done, I'm staying up till
All night.
it's done.
Yeah.
Exactly.
What about you?
Me and you were at a mastermind just 3 days ago, showing people our calendars of how we operate.
Yeah.
Everything on the calendar, and that's how you stay organized and time block. I as well as you put everything on my calendar, even when I have stuff personal in the middle of the day, take my car to drop off, because I live on that calendar, and that's what keeps me focused. But when it comes to, I find that when I keep what I consider most important, that I am the most productive. So for
How
me,
do you do that?
For me, my priority orders are how we talked about it on the plane ride home, how I start my day. I start my day in prayer, and I start my day, for me, reading the Bible, and then I work out, and then I go crush the day from there, right? And when for me, it's God first, it's my wife second, my kids third, and then it's
Casey fourth.
Casey fourth, and then it's Bert, no, then it's my VA, but then it's my friends and family, and then it's business. And when that stays in that order, but the thing is that doesn't eat time away from one or the other. It all works together. When I say that that's the priority for me, that's how I prioritize it in my mind, and like what's most important. But if it's like 1A, 1B, 1C, 1D, you know what I mean? It's not like this big gap. And Luke was with us the entire time. My 14-year-old was with us the entire time. We were just at this mastermind. He was learning investing. He was learning real estate. He missed 3 days of school. He learned more in 3 days of school than he would have learned, that he's learned all year. We got home on Saturday night. Yesterday was Jen's birthday, my wife's birthday. When we got in the car to go to Pamela's down in the Strip District to go eat, he brought his notebook and read to us absolutely everything he learned. When we got home from that, he already has a calculator how to evaluate the Burr model. He knows I've been doing wholesales lately, so he wanted me to help him build a calculator just for that.
That's awesome.
And that's just part of the talk in our house.
Make sure he can just use Burr simply.
That's what I told him.
Yeah. But to your point, it's really cool too, because, we have our own coaching program, but we also are a part of other masterminds, several of those. The mastermind that we were at, TJ is a 3-time board director in a row champion of, helping run rooms out there. But the boardroom mastermind that Ken Clothier runs, we've been in that thing for 4 years. That's where we're at. But they do a really cool thing. So shout out to Kent and the team at the boardroom. But they allow, every so often, I don't know exactly what it is, but they bring in the children, and then children go do their own mastermind for 2 full days where they learn and allow the members to do that. So to your point, that is a really, really cool thing to allow you to integrate, work, life, children, family, all the things. So shout out Ken for that too. But changing gears maybe just slightly here, but the same concept around focus and time and energy. Both of you have entrepreneurial aspirations and continue to have that as real estate investors, and whatever else that you have going on or don't. I love people that want to work full time and also continue to build their own business. But how the hell do you fit that in?
Just part of it. When you just do it. You don't think about it. It's part of what's added on the schedule. If I need to go look at a property, which, my partner, Evan, he looks at most of our properties because he doesn't have kids yet. So he has a little more time when he's able to, but you plug it in on the schedule. And then a lot of times what I've done in the past is I've actually taken someone who reports to me here at Still Point with me. So I've combined it with a training opportunity. Because most of the people who join, as I run the capital raise, the lending, the Foundry, they want to learn more. So it turns into a teaching opportunity along with evaluating a property. So the last one that me and Evan just put under contract and sold, we took Pete to, our new director of investor success. And Pete has never been to a new investment property at that time. He's like, it was pretty nasty house. He was in shock, and me and Evan were walking around just, crawling over a hoarder house. Yes. But he learned so much just from that. So you can combine it all. It's just all how you see it. Whereas if you're a corporate company or other companies, it might be like, oh, I have to hide this. Yeah. And guess what? When you have to hide stuff or feel like that, you're just creating scarcity and separation that's all man-made. We've created an environment where that's completely unnecessary. Peyton didn't come in today till 11 because he's buying another investment property and he had to get a second opinion on a sewer line. We don't care.
Firing him.
Fire him. But no, he was fine because he was still working from a different location till he had to do that. Then he came in. We don't care. We want him to get that property because we're going to lend to him anyways on it.
I want him to be successful.
But we would not just because we want to lend to him. But
well, Danielle, what would you say to somebody that works in an environment where ultimately, I'll just tell you the truth, right? Like when I was at my previous career as a W-2 CFO of a real estate investment company, I was there 10 months. I got fired. My story is out there. I tell everybody it because it is an incredibly good learning opportunity for anybody. But while we were there, I will kid you not, Brian Kirshner, my real estate partner at City Life, that we own $120 million worth of real estate together while I was a CFO at that company. By the way, he brought me into the company. The owner of that company, while I was a CFO, pushed him out the door because he got wind and he said that Brian was buying real estate in Kent. Get out. And that happened. And so what would you guys tell generally corporate America, right? Like Jake and other people that are coming up and want to start, doing different things when they can't, when the boss is like, no, you're not allowed to do that because we need to be focused on the business. By the way, I don't actually think it's a horrible argument for those folks, meaning, hey, you guys need to be focused on our business. What am I paying you for, right? But how I stand on this on the other side of it. So what is advice we can give those folks that have a full-time W-2 job that want to go out on their own, right? A lot of people that we coach and work with that have their W-2 jobs, right? That, we're encouraging them to keep it for now and build the side business until they're ready. What do you tell them if they have to hide it or, they're scared to go to their bosses and let them know that I'm doing these things? Like, what advice can we give them?
I mean, that's a tough spot to be in.
You can be blunt.
I would say hide it. Hide it and build what you want to do and put the time in after work. I mean, every side hustle starts with you putting in 10, 15, 20 hours after you're doing your full-time job. It's just how every business starts. And you don't want to get rid of that income because your business isn't going to take off in a day. Yeah. So until you build that up, you really need to stay. And if it's really torture, look for other jobs. Yeah. There are a million jobs out there. You can apply for things you don't think you're going to get, because I've done that plenty of times in my life and got on a job. So go apply and just make it happen. And then eventually maybe you'll end up in a company that you actually can build your dream while you're doing it, or be so hyper-focused that you really want that side hustle. Do what you got to do in your W-2 for your 8 to 5 that you're there, and then super focus. And it's easy, especially before you have kids, to just spend all your time building your side hustle.
Yeah. Yeah, especially without kids, right? That's what a lot of the big people out in your 20s without kids, you should be working 100 hours a week minimum.
I think about how much time I wasted. I'm like, I should have done so much more before I had kids.
Yeah.
And I still was doing a lot, but I was not doing enough.
So same here. I was at the bars.
Exactly.
Yeah, sure. What about you? What do you think?
I was 24, so I didn't have much time before I had kids.
Same here.
I wouldn't know because I was my boss, but I would say if my opinion would be you need to be happy.
I do remember when you first started here, you were running your other business, not your real estate portfolio, but your construction a little bit. I do remember asking you every once in a while, making sure you were winding that down, because it was like a direct competitor to us in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
And not that I cared. I was just making sure oh, by the way, you can't really run an active construction company, full service construction company from start to end and work at one. It's kind of a little bit of a conflict of interest. Yeah.
I never hit it though.
Never. You were always answered every time, no matter what. I agree. But we also had the conversations before you started and everything, which I encourage people to do. Yeah. And I do think you were in a little bit of a different position when you came here. You were a lifelong entrepreneur running your own company, which is very different than someone coming from college or whatever that might be.
Well, I was winding it down too.
That's what I'm saying.
It just hit COVID. So the jobs that should have taken me 3 months to finish were a year later still going on because you couldn't get contractors on jobs.
Yeah. Yes.
I started, for context, literally 1 month before COVID hit.
Yeah.
So it was crazy. But
that's a great point.
So yeah, I would say get the heck out.
But
you need to support. If you got a family, you got to support.
You're saying
family.
how she's saying Heidi. You're saying get out. I don't disagree. What I would say is, I've said it before. I don't love saying this. It doesn't feel good saying it. But can you ghost quit some? Right, which is essentially, can you continue to work less and them not notice? Right, how valuable are you to the business? Right, And I would tell you not to do that too long. It's not the right thing to do. We want to be ethical,
Yeah.
morally correct,
Yeah.
always, no matter what. I firmly believe in that. But if there's a way here and you have to because of the way they are, well, look, it is what it is, right? Fight whatever, right? If someone's going to punch you, punch them, right? Like kind of thing. If someone's going to be an asshole and not let you, right? Then I get it. And the other thing that I would tell you is go find a job and take a pay cut in an industry that you want to be in. That's what I did. I'll be honest, right? And if, people always talk about when I got fired after 10 months, had to be the worst thing in the world because I took a $100,000 pay cut to take the job in the first place. So not only did I take $100,000 less, I got fired 10 months later. I still, to this day, undoubtedly, taking that job was the best thing I've ever did in my entire life because it got me to here where I'm at today. It truly did. What I had done, though, was I was done traveling and I wanted to get into small business. I always wanted to run my own company, never had an idea, never thought I could be an entrepreneur. I never thought I was crazy enough to come up with an idea to go on Shark Tank, right? Like, truthfully. Taking that job allowed me to get into small business to see how it's run, see what owners act and feel and think like, and realize, oh my God, I could be this. This isn't that hard. If I'd have stayed in public accounting in corporate America forever, I never would have known that, right? And so, like, it's the same thing. We had Evan. You mentioned Evan, your business partner, buying real estate together now. I had him on and said the same thing, right? He came and worked for us because he wanted to get into real estate. He's still in it, and he's literally one of the smartest dudes when it comes to it because he's in property management, which teaches you everything there is to know about real estate. And so it's like, if they're not letting you run a side hustle, go take a job in an industry that's closer to what you want to do a side hustle and you're going to learn significantly more. And odds are they're not going to care because you're getting smarter every day, right? Just don't make it a direct competitive business, right? Like, don't go get a job doing landscaping in the same exact market that for a landscaping company while you're trying to, get clients right next to the house they're getting clients from. It's probably not going to work. Right. But if you want to buy real estate, go into property management, right? As an example. And so that's what Evan did, and look at him now. And so I think that's really, really, what I would tell people to do that are in those situations, because there's a lot of them out there, right? If you're in that situation, you're in a really crappy situation, you've got to get out of it, or you're going to literally end up in that rabbit hole of being around the wrong people, doing around the wrong things. The next thing you know, you're going to be in your 40s, which is fine. If you're in your 40s, start now, right now, start.
Yep.
Yeah.
But if you're in your 20s, don't wait till your 40s. You know what I'm saying? You got to get going. You got to get doing things. And so whatever that is, you got to take the action. If it's getting a different job, right? Stop reading books. Read the books, but go take action on them, right? Read one book and act. That's what's going to change the game. Any last words?
What I always tell my kids and all the kids I coach in football and wrestling or just meet is, I don't care what age you are. And to second what Casey just said is figure out what you love to do and do that. Don't do something because your guidance counselor or your uncle says you're going to make all this money doing it, because if that's why you're doing it and you don't enjoy it, you're going to be miserable. Figure out what you love to do that. You will become great at it, and then the money will follow. It makes me think of, you just showed me that post the other day by Ethan, who worked for us for a period of time. He's now full-time. You told him to go be a professional pickleball player.
I said I wouldn't go get another job. I'd go full-time, try to be a professional pickleball player and run a pickleball gym.
So he loves pickleball. Now what's he doing?
Yeah.
He's running, teaching, coaching, playing pickleball full-time, and coaching and teaching pickleball full-time, probably happier than he ever could have been. And he was doing because he thought the right path out of college and everything was to be a bookkeeper or account. I mean,
he was a financial analyst for us. I pushed him out the door and said, I don't want, you got to go do that. You need to go do it.
Yep. Yeah. I mean, going off of that, this is something that, since my kids are little, they have a lot of crazy dreams that they tell me every day. And I remember being small and having those dreams and having adults tell you that's probably not going to work out. I never, ever tell my kids, your dreams aren't going to happen, because I myself have had crazy dreams where I'm like, okay, this, maybe this will happen, maybe it won't. But if you just really focus in on, you're going to make it happen, it's going to happen.
Yep.
I'm going to bring an NBA team to Pittsburgh one day.
Yes, you are.
You heard it here. I'm going to do that one day. That's the goal. That's the ultimate dream.
See, crazy dreams, but
it's not crazy.
Exactly. Exactly.
Hey, listen, it's never perfect. This is unfiltered, uncut. Oh, maybe a little bit cut, huh, Jake?
It's definitely cut.
A little bit cut. Unfiltered, though. No prep, no action. It's never going to be perfect. You got this Steel Point team here. We're building dreams, our own dreams. We're building lives. We're chasing happiness every single day. We're building happiness. Let's go.
Nice.